How's it going, everybody? It's Doc, and today we're going to talk about how you can sell monthly options for easy passive income, specifically with covered calls and the wheel strategy. Before we get started, my name's Doc. I'm a resident physician by day, and at night, I take you on my crypto and investing journey. Let's just go ahead and get started. We got a lot to talk about. This is actually the part 2 to a video that I did a couple days ago that got a really good response. So this was my video that I did a couple days ago, selling options for passive monthly income the easy way. And there's this comment down here that said, if you get assigned the stock, how does this reflect your overall returns? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're specifically going to talk about the second half of the wheel strategy, selling covered call. And then I'm going to give you a brief overview of the wheel, right? Because the wheel is composed of selling cash secured puts. That was our first video, and I'm going to link this video at the end of the screen so you can watch. The first half is selling cash secured puts. And then the second half of the wheel is selling covered calls. Guys, it's okay if this doesn't make sense right now. I'm going to explain it and make it really easy. So in that first video, which again, I'm going to link to the end of this video. Also, by the way, stay towards the end of this video because I'm going to kind of show a little bonus way to make a little bit of extra money on this. So in our video that we just posted a couple days ago, we talked about selling puts, right? And when you sold puts, you collected a premium. This is the same thing in just a different graphic. So you're selling a put and you're receiving a premium. And we said if the stock price is higher than your strike price, you don't get assigned, right? Did you get assigned? No. Then you just keep going back and selling put options, right? And the goal is maybe 20 or 30% of the time you will get assigned, and that's where you sell covered calls. That's what this video is going to be about, okay? It's going to be about selling covered calls. So just to kind of explain this in this graphic, right? You're going to sell puts, you're going to get a premium. If you get assigned, you'll sell covered calls, and then you're hoping you can get out of that and just restart the whole process. Hence the name of the wheel. And I kind of actually made something because I thought this could be helpful. Because some people were just kind of confused with options overall. So this is kind of options 101. And there's 4 different components. Guys, I promise this is not complicated. I'm going to break it down really easy right here. So options 101, 4 components. You have the stock itself. Last time we talked about AMD. Guess what? We're going to talk about AMD again, just for some continuity to make the example a little bit more clear. So we talked about AMD. It doesn't matter what stock, we're just using AMD as an example. The next component of options is the strike price. And that's the price that you're stating you will either buy or sell an option within a certain period of time. So in our previous example on AMD, we talked about the 110 strike price and the 115 strike price, okay? So that's the second component of options is the strike price. And then it's, are you buying options? Are you selling options? Here's the simplified version. We are just selling options. We're not buying options. Buying options is kind of more gambling, in my opinion. We're taking advantage of people who want to speculate on the market, and we're collecting premium because we are selling options, right? That's how we're collecting that guaranteed premium that goes straight to our account. And then the last component of options is puts and calls. And puts is just a bearish strategy, or when folks think the market's going to go down, versus calls is when folks are bullish on a particular stock because they think the price is going to go up. Guess what? We're using both of these. The first half of the wheel, we sold puts, right? And we can even look here, right? Remember, this is the same spreadsheet that I used in the first video, except now I added this down here. But in that first video, we were selling puts and we were collecting a premium. In this video, we're going to be selling covered calls, right? Because remember, we're always selling. Guys, if this is confusing, I'm going to do an example. This is going to make a ton of sense, right? So let's just do a really quick recap of selling puts. And this is the first half of the wheel strategy, right? Selling a put option. Okay, so we said AMD, for example, which right now it's $125. In the example that we were talking about a couple days ago, it was at, roughly 120. And we said if you sold the January 31st, because again, part of the options is there's a time component. So I probably should add on here somewhere that there is a time component, right? Strike price of the stock and the expiration date. Okay. So that's something that I should add here. So we have the stock, we're selling a put, and the expiration is January 31st. And we sold the 110 put. We said if you did that, you collect $270, and that's that premium that you collect up front, which comes out to 2.4% per month. And if you were to do that annualized over an entire year, that'd be over 29%. And the reason that we're saying that this is better than dividends, because dividend stocks pay 5, 6, at the very best 7%. This is way, way better. So let's use this example, right? We're selling the January put at 110, January 31st. Well, guess what? AMD is nowhere near 110. Right now it's 125. It would have to get all the way down here, right? Before we were to get assigned. So if we didn't get assigned, we could just rinse and repeat and keep doing the wheel strategy, right? Sell a put option, earn a premium, which is typically 2 or 3%. Okay, did we get assigned? No, we just keep going back and collecting premium over and over and over again. Now, let's say we did get assigned. Let's say hypothetically, the price of AMD went below 110 before January 31st, and we got assigned 100 shares. Okay, so we now own 100 shares of AMD at a price of $1.10, right? Because we're saying hypothetically this fell down, our strike price was $1.10, and now we own 100 shares. So now we're moving to this part. We're going to sell covered calls now because we did get assigned. So we're going to sell covered calls. This is where stuff starts to get magic. So follow along because this really is awesome. I'm going to break this down in the easiest way possible. Okay, so we own 100 shares of AMD. We're going to now sell covered calls because we got assigned. So we're going to sell the February 7th call at $135. So what does that mean? Because people could say like, Robert, that sounds like jargon to me. Well, let's open up the option tree. Okay, I am on February and I'm specifically doing calls, right? In the previous video, we did puts because we were selling puts. Now we're selling calls. So if we go to February 7th, and that's approximately a month, right? Because the day that I'm filming this is January 5th. It's approximately a month away. And let's just for fun pick the 135 strike price, right? Because remember, that's a component of the options. So at $135, this is the strike price. We're going to get somewhere between $415 and $500. Well, Robert, you're saying, well, this says $4.15 and $5. Why are you saying $415 and $500? Again, because an option consists of 100 shares. One option equals 100 shares. So the price is somewhere between the bid and the ask. The last is just a good representation. So if we were to sell the February 7th option, if we were to sell this covered call at $135, we would collect $425. So let me just make this easy for you. We're going to simplify this. We're going to collect $425. Okay. So that automatically goes into our pocket. Okay. So let's fast forward time. Let's say it's now, we're in February, right? It's February 18th and the stock price did not get above $135. What happens then? Well, then we keep the stock. We keep all of our 100 shares, right? We did not get assigned. Selling covered calls, did we get assigned? No. Then we just keep selling covered calls and we keep collecting premium, okay? So we collected $410 $425. Let's do some simple math on that. That comes out to 3.1% in 1 month, right? So dividend stocks are paying 5, 6, maybe 7% a year. By selling this covered call, we would just collect over 3% in 1 month. That's crazy, right? In 1 month, you're getting over half of what a dividend stock pays in 1 month compared to an entire year. So if you annualize that, if we compound it monthly over a year, that comes out to over 40%. That's wild. Okay, well, we just said the 135 strike price. Well, what if we were to be a little bit more aggressive? Let's say, hey, we don't want to sell the 135 strike price. What if we sold the 130 strike price? Okay, so the 130, we're more likely to sell our shares and the other person get assigned, right? Because 130 is lower than 135. Put differently, AMD is more likely to hit 130 versus 135. So let's look at this option. Let's say we were to do that. What does that come out to? 4.5%. 4.5%. I didn't annualize this, but I can tell you it's close to 50%, which is absolutely gnarly. But guys, here's where the secret sauce comes in. Here is where the secret sauce comes in. Okay, let's say we're up here now, right? We're selling the put. And let's say we sold this put at 110 and we got assigned. So we collected 110, we collected our 2.4%, and then we got assigned. We actually had to come out with $11,000 to buy those 100 shares at a strike price of 110. So you now own those 100 shares at 110. Okay, here we're going to say we now got assigned. Okay, we got assigned. The price hit 135. We're going to go to our example here. We're selling covered calls. The person got assigned, and that just means the price of AMD hit 135. Okay, this is where the magic comes in. We bought at 110. We sold. I'm going to zoom in here because you guys probably can't see this. We bought at 110. We sold at 135. That's a $25 profit, right? But here's the thing. We bought 100 shares. So look how lucrative this can be. We made, if you take 2.4% of 11 grand, that's 264. And then if you take this 3.1%, that's 349, right? That's the premium that we collected. That 264 represents this 2.4%, and this 349 equals this 3.1%. Plus, we just made $2,500 because, right, the price of AMD went up. We bought at 110 and we're selling at 135. So we round all of this up. We made over $3,000 off an $11,000 investment, right? $3,000 over an $11,000 investment. Let's just see what that comes out to, right? Yes, I could probably do this in my head, but we're doing this live on air. So this is 3,100 divided by 11,000. Oh, is it not going to let me copy and paste? That's fine. 3,100 divided by 11,000. That's 28%. And in this example, it could be as short as 2 months. 2 months to make 28%. Now, again, there are risks to this, right? Let's say AMD, this is important to talk about. Let's say AMD just shit the bed and it falls all the way down to 100. Okay, well, you were assigned the stock at 110 and then it fell down to 100. So you would be down money there, except you would get that premium back, right? Because we earned premium from selling the option. So that would help you recoup your loss. So what you're probably asking is, Doc, I don't want to buy a stock and then have it go down really, really far. There's a way to mitigate this, okay? There's a ton of free indicators that you can look at. This indicator that we're looking at right now is called the Bollinger Bands, okay? And this consists of a couple moving averages, and typically, we'll just look back historically. We're on the 2-week chart now, so that just means each candle's 2 weeks, right? The price of AMD stays in between these Bollinger Bands for the most part, right? There are some times where it can get overextended like it did here. And I'm sure we could go back and find some examples of when it goes below the Bollinger Bands as well. But for the most part, this stock stays between the Bollinger Band. So here's the strategy to sell options. You want to sell puts, right? Up here, the first part of the wheel, sell our put options when stocks are near the bottom of the Bollinger Band, okay? And what that tells us is it's kind of already bottomed out. So if it's down here, we would want to pick a price that's below the Bollinger Band. That's why we picked 110 in that previous example, because it's below the Bollinger Band and we're less likely to get assigned. But here's the thing. It's okay if we get assigned because we're only doing the wheel strategy, right? We're only doing this wheel strategy on stocks that we actually want to own. I actually want to own AMD. And here's the wild thing. You want to know why I want to own AMD? If we looked at the forecast, this is just on TradingView, it's a buy, right? There's a ton of different indicators out there or different forecasts. A lot of them say buy. They're saying, and this is just one example, but the 1-year forecast, the average price of these forecasts is $183. $183. The min is 145. So like you could do this whole option strategy. You could sell. I mean, this is something that I'm doing that I really want to do. Sell the 120 puts and actually hope that you get assigned, right? Right now it's 125. You'll collect a premium when you sell the puts. I hope I get assigned. And then when I sell covered calls, personally, I would be more aggressive. I wouldn't sell the 135. I would probably sell like the 140 or 145, right? Way up here, because then you get to collect the difference when it does hit that price. So we're going to summarize here. The option wheel strategy, it is significantly better than dividend stocks. And there's 2 parts to the option wheel strategy. It's selling a cash secured put. If you get assigned, because right, there's the way you do this is it might be 20-30% if you get assigned. If you don't get assigned, you just keep selling puts and keep collecting monthly premium. But if you do get assigned, the second half of the wheel strategy is you selling covered calls, keep collecting that premium until the stock price hits the strike price. And the beautiful thing with this, guys, you are picking all of these. You're picking the strike, right? You get to pick which strike you sell puts at, and you get to pick the strike that you sell calls at, plus you get to pick the date, right? So you have a lot of control with this strategy. Here we just showed in this example, right? Because this is just an example. You could potentially make 28% in as little as like 2 months here. Technically, you could make it faster if you close the calls, but that is a topic for another video because that gets into the weeds a little bit. I am InvestWithDoc on Twitter. Consider giving me a follow there. The other thing I just want to say is like, honestly, thank you so much. I make these videos because I really enjoy the process, and the response that I've gotten from all of you has actually been awesome. Like literally a couple weeks ago, I think I had, 200 subscribers. I think when I started this, I had 190, right? Just because I posted some old videos from back in the day. And somehow I have 1,800 subscribers. So genuinely, I really, really appreciate all of you. Again, I'm InvestWithDoc on both Twitter and YouTube. If you guys got any value out of this video at all, consider liking the video and subscribing. I really appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you on the next one.